Welcome back to another episode of Carolina Boys Sportscast. This is your host Jolly J, and my co-host Sea Dog.
Co-host, man. I thought I was the host. I'm just kidding. Ha ha ha. Man. All right, welcome y'all. Sorry I've been on a little, not
Yes.
talking free. I've been fighting a cold, but I'm back now. Gonna
Yeah,
be 100.
Sea
percent
Dog couldn't talk, so probably pretty bad. You would hear him just whispering on the mic.
Right. So we're gonna get in a little bit of discussion tonight. Let's see. Of the college football and some NFL. You want to start off with your team, or should I always go with the number one?
Well, let's go ahead and start off with like Georgia today and stuff like that. We'll go set up. Because since Georgia's number one topic right now, Carolina they was at the top at the beginning, but now they're just slowly going down. But they're winning again. So it's very good start off again to rebuild. And so far they benched DJ for a little bit, but it even though they done that, it still didn't work with the second string quarterback. So that kind of explained the story of that one. They lost that game. So um, it was a hard fought game. The recent game they won, so that's really an up on that one. So that's what I was really excited about. They won 30-20, right? So
Yeah, it was 30-20.
yeah, so I know they got that last touchdown they got was the defense got that fumble recovery of the shuffle passes to try to save the game, but well that to me that was awesome, but Clemson's not looking really great at all really right now. They almost lost to Syracuse. I know. Well, we already talked about Boston College when we went down to South Carolina to watch that game, but Pittsburgh they fought hard against that. But the let's talk about the recent game with Florida State. It was 30-20. Um, Florida State's got a really good, solid team this year. Even though they're only 3-5 now, and then Clemson's 5-3, so it's a good thing Clemson has they have a winning record right now. So they scored only 3 points in the first quarter and 14 the second, and then that last quarter was 13 points that they scored. For a Florida State, Jordan Travis is doing pretty good. I would say Travis is a pretty good quarterback. He has got 14 completions out of 22 attempts. He only has 176 yards and 2 TDs, but that's why I sound like we're comparing quarterbacks right now. You have DJ, 19 completions out of 31, 189 yards and one touchdown, one interception. So for comparing quarterbacks during that game, I would say Travis is pretty good. He got it on lock. I thought the big player of the game for Clemson that day was Shipley. Okay, uh, he he scored the offense's touchdowns for Clemson. He got 25 carries. I'm really glad Shipley came back. Um, he got 128 yards. His average yard was a 5 yards per carry. So two touchdowns for the game. But Shipley he's blowing through him, man. I tell you right now, Sea Dog, he was able to go through the line. He Clemson really needed him back. Like Clemson really needed him to fight this game. I'm not going to say he's the main reason that Clemson won, but we have a wide receiver. We have a Davis Allen. He got a touchdown on offense. So I wouldn't say he's the only one, but you have the defense scoring the last end of the game. And you have a wide receiver, and you had Shipley scoring two touchdowns. That was a pretty great game though. I would say Justin Rossi had the highest receiving yards, only six receiving. He's got 85. But Clemson, the DJ, of course, he has negative 9 rushing yards. But I would say Clemson really needed this game. Sea Dog, I really do. But it was against Florida Seminoles. That was ACC team, so it helped Clemson bump up some in their rankings right now. But yeah, I would say Clemson's maybe they'll coming up. How do you feel about Clemson? You think they'll maybe it seems like they're getting together since Shipley came back, it'll get a little bit more of a threat on offense? Or
I mean, it's a possibility, but Clemson's that. I mean, it's nothing but style points for the rest of the season for Clemson. I mean, their defense, it maybe sometimes kick on all cylinders, but it seems like um, they ain't really hitting where they need to be. Even though I mean they won the last games except for that which game was it? The Pitt game. They didn't win that one, but it was like it was a lot of miscommunication. But like I mean, so it's a possibility they might come back, and at least win the rest of their games.
yeah, right now Clemson in the ACC Atlantic, they're in the third spot right now. So in the conference they're 4-2. At home they're I don't even want to say it, so we're just gonna keep it going. But Clemson, they're in the ACC Atlantic. They're ranked number third right now. So that Florida State game bumped them up some. Right now, it seems like they would be above NC State for the for Atlantic ratings, but NC State beat them. So so it I would say Clemson, maybe hopefully they'll come back and they show up and show out anymore now. So we're all just hoping for the best for Clemson at this moment. I love Clemson, but Pittsburgh, that was a pretty different game. That game, a lot of miscommunications, a lot of mishits, and you had a quarterback situation, of course. But hopefully Clemson, they come back and they show up. I really do. But maybe in their next game is against Louisville, so it's at Louisville, so it's a disadvantage for Clemson for a home game. But Louisville's a pretty good team. Hopefully, Clemson shows out in that game.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they can show out, but now it's on to the best conference in college football is the SEC, Southeastern Conference. Right now, I'm gonna go off with shout out to the Braves. It's been 26 years since the Braves won the World Series. And they beat Astros. All 4 series. They spun out. But it was, I mean, the main ones that actually got the dub for the Braves. Give a shout out to Freddie Freeman. He's the one that basically sealed the game with that hitter, that line drive to the in the infield. And got him on the board, and then he hit that solo home run, which basically, what put him on the board. And Solorio, he's from Cuba, but that is a beast. I mean that the pitcher was staring his ass down and trying to give him an awkward look, like you're not going to hit it. He hit that thing, went over and out of the damn field, and went through the damn stands, over the train tracks outside of the stadium. So, I mean, that put him up. There was already a 3 on the base. That was an easy 3 up, scoring the top of the 3rd or top of the 5th, and then it was just like all Braves.
That was real well deserving during that time, and Atlanta Braves always had a good team. They always they win and they win and they win, and then somehow in the very end they seem like they always blew it. But I'm really glad. I'm really for Atlanta Braves. Like I love the Atlanta Braves, but I know we never talk about football, baseball. So it's like we got to talk about the World Series champs right now. That was a 7-0 score. So man, I'm telling you right now, that was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, they always say, every team in Georgia always chokes. Atlanta would choke, and when they got to the World Series or the playoffs, they would choke. Georgia, I mean, Georgia's in the hot seat right now, boy. Number 1 every week, ever since they got the number 1 spot, 8-0, and they're 6-0 in conference. They took down Florida. They beat Florida 34-7. It was with the backup. I mean, the walk-on quarterback Bennett, which is he left, then he came back. He was a Scouts quarterback. Then he came back. It's like he took over, and ever since he took over, it's been a hot. He's got a lot to prove. After last year when he played, the 2 losses that he had. I guess the first one was against Alabama. I want to say the second loss was like Florida or something, maybe. I forgot what it was, but it was like he's out for revenge. He's out to make a statement. And so far, every single game, he's made a statement. That's why they're 8-0 right now. They got the SEC East, so Georgia won. They're the SEC East champs right now. Until we get to Atlanta, we were all worried about Kentucky versus Mississippi State. If Kentucky would have won that game, that would have knocked us out. But you know, Mississippi State beat Kentucky like hell. Now Georgia's in. Um, I give it to the credit of the defense. The defense is elite. I mean, they're spectacular. It's like every game they're stepping up. Speaking of that Florida game, it was a back and forth game. I mean, it was like 3-0 really. Um, both quarterbacks, not quarterbacks, both kickers missed the extra point. So on twice on both teams. Georgia had the lead 3-0, and then Florida got the ball back and was down there at like 5-yard line, fumbled the ball. Then we got it back. Nolan Smith is the one that forced the fumble. He just snatched it right out of Richardson's hands. Then it was going downhill after that. It was like scoreless first quarter. I think there was probably like 2 minutes and 60 seconds or 2 minutes and 16 seconds left in the quarter. And every time Georgia's defense got back on the field, it was hell to pay. Let's see. They were covered pretty good. Richardson, which is Florida's quarterback, he threw the ball and it was deflected. Nolan Smith caught it for interception. They got the ball back, scored touchdown to Kearis Jackson. Then, Richardson got the ball back again, threw a pick six to one of the best linebackers in the nation right now. He should be, is Nakobe Dean. Fucking monster. Georgia's defense was smothering them, the whole entire game. It was like 27-0 all the way up to the fourth quarter.
So, I'm gonna go ahead and call some of the scores of the week 9. You have Coastal Carolina, of course, Carolina team. They won. They're ranked number 21 in the nation right now, and that top 25, 35-28. Baylor, I feel like it was a pretty solid game. It was 31-24. And how about that blowout for Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns, baby, against Texas State, 45-0. And of course, Cincinnati, they're facing Tulane. All respect to them as 31-12. I'm liking Cincinnati right now. They're ranked number 2 in the nation right now. They're looking like a solid team. I love the way they score. I love that. I love the quarterback situation that they got going there. So I would say Cincinnati. I know their quarterback's looking good. Ryder, he got 17 completions out of 27, but 227 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's pretty solid, man. I really like it. The Bearcats are 8-0 right now. I would say they're probably close to the biggest threat to Georgia, but we'll see how.
You got jokes.
Listen. I will see how it plays out. I don't want to give all credit to Alabama, but we have what about say Michigan State. All right, here we go. They're ranked number 5 right now. They beat Michigan. That was a close game. That's a rivalry. So there's going to be bad blood. That's going to be one of the hard hitting games you have, just like the Carolina versus Clemson game. That's one of the hard. It's a hard hitting game. Depends how the teams are doing that year. And Michigan was ranked number 9. So I would say that's a pretty solid game. Like, I wouldn't discredit Michigan State for not blowing out Michigan since they want to be in the top 5. But that's a rivalry game. You're never going to have sometimes you would, but Iowa lost. They lost. That's a major upset. Okay, they lost. They lost by 20 against Wisconsin. That's going to knock them down a lot. Iowa, to me, I thought Iowa was an upcoming. Like last time we did our little survey where we had Iowa involved in it.
Uh-huh.
And after that, they lost 2 games in a row since then, possibly, or more. But Oklahoma beat Texas Tech, so And of course, you have Georgia over here. We already mentioned that one, but Oregon won. In Wake Forest, the ACC team right now. Uh, Wake Forest, the Deacons, it's looking great. 45-7 against Duke. I would say it's awesome. That's a pretty high scoring game. You score 14 points in the first, second quarter, and you score 10 in the third, and you score in every single quarter. You have a great football team, a great year this year. Like if you can score in every single quarter, you're doing all right. Especially rushing. Rushing looked pretty solid. 103 yards. Durant, he had 20 carries, and so yeah, I know he had 0 touchdowns, but we'll give that credit to Riley Leonard. So he got 1 touchdown. He had a total of 39 yards, 6 carries. The ACC is looking pretty solid. At Wake Forest, they're looking great this year. So
I want to get your opinion on Tuesday when the college football playoffs came out.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up to you, but I was definitely going to bring that up to you. But you mentioned it to me before. You had real quick. You had Georgia, now of course number 1 right now, and Alabama number 2. Well, I wouldn't say I'm a professional, I guess, official of the ratings, the college ratings. Like I don't know what sources they use. I don't know if they used a power school or they just used it doesn't seem like they used like winning right now. It doesn't look like they're using that record, right?
Right.
At Michigan State, yeah, that's definitely deservable number 3. But I would Oregon, Ohio State, yeah, they're looking good in that spot right there. And of course, Michigan got to be number 7 because they lost to Michigan State. I'm glad to see Notre Dame in there, Wake Forest. But what bothers me the most is Cincinnati at number 6. What was your sources again on that one? Was it official ESPN or what was it again?
Yeah, it was the ESPN. I was actually watching it live when it went through and they named Georgia number 1, Alabama number 2. And it was like Oregon and then Michigan.
But listen,
and
I
then
like
Cincinnati sitting on the outside looking in.
But that's the problem. To me, that would probably put a bad taste in my mouth. I'm the second ranked team in college football right now. I'm undefeated. I'm a major threat. I'm blowing people out. I'm over here. I'm ranked number 6, and then the teams that lost are ahead of me. Think about that, Dog. I wouldn't say, I don't discredit them at all. I love the officials, and so that's what kind of bothers me some on that one, to the point where why, like, what would make it, like, their schedule looked like it was pretty solid this year. I know in week 8 they faced the Navy. With everybody, they're always going to have a team that they're going to face, but at the same time, to me, I don't understand it. The fact is of why Cincinnati, they blew out UCF. It's like they scored high in these. Like, you expect these little, like, a lot of teams that you see right now, like they're up there in the top 5. They're not blowing none of these small schools out. No discredit to them. They faced Temple, blew them out, 52-3. So to me, it doesn't. It seems like, since, like, the way they chose that, Dog, is they went by teams that they faced. But if you look at the Notre Dame game versus Cincinnati, 24-13. So that they fought hard. That wasn't a blowout. So at that point, you could probably see a little bit of a struggle of why they wouldn't. That was in week 5. You see a little bit of struggle why they wouldn't put them up there at that top. But at the same time, you can't discredit them at all. Like, they have not lost the game, like yet. So,
right.
But you put them at number 6, and they blew the schools that needed to be blown out. No offense to the teams, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean. But, like, a lot of teams that you see stepping stones on, and they faced Indiana. That was like a little bit of a struggle, though. But you see where I'm coming from? It seems like so far they only faced, at that point in time, one ranked team. There were only a couple teams. So I can probably see why they came up with these numbers at this point, Sea Dog. But I no discredit to them. But if I put in work, I would like to see results. But they're ranked number 2, so like I guess they can like shut them down, shut people down that bets against them. But Alabama's always going to be considered the power school until said otherwise. But that was a close game, a close fought game. They fought against Texas A&M, and then what was the other team? They said they struggled.
Florida. Are you talking about Alabama?
Yeah.
There was a 3-point lead against Florida. So
that was before Florida got away with the game. Well, Alabama got away with the game.
Well, no, that was Florida's fault because Florida had a messed up read and they did a wrong play.
Yeah,
so that was Florida's fault. But and then they were somewhat almost losing to Tennessee until like halftime, and then they came back and started whooping ass.
Well, that's how Alabama and Alabama and Georgia has like a percentage rating of second half games, right? Like where they're struggling, and they come back and they just kind of just say, "Oh, here we go, I'm back in the game."
Yes, most definitely. But it seems like they all said it about Georgia. Like Georgia don't play nobody. Like who does Georgia? I mean, who do we have to prove to that? I mean, we talked down the top 25 team, or no, we took down the top number 2 team in the nation. We took down the number 8 team in the nation. We took down the number 18 team in the nation that was ranked. So we basically took all the top 10 teams out. And yet we still don't play nobody.
Well, the thing is, what probably discredited the top 2 number team was the way Clemson is now. That's probably what they mean by discrediting. If Clemson was still top number, like they're still ranked number 2 or ranked number 3 or in the top 5 right now, it wouldn't discredit Georgia at all as beating the number 2 in the college rating top 25 right now. But the way Clemson is playing, it probably discredited it. You know what I'm saying, Sea Dog? But that's probably what discredit means of that one. So, but I know But South Carolina, they lost in week 8 to Texas A&M. Of course, they beat Alabama. If they don't beat Clemson, that's going to be very upsetting. But it seems like Carolina's struggling this year. The Carolina boys, let's go ahead and talk about them a little bit. They're 4-4. Their passing is not, I would say, to par at all. A total of 84 yards in that game. And your other quarterbacks got a total of 30, but they're struggling this year. But the game that we're waiting on for Clemson versus Carolina, that'll be a talk of the town right there, man. But
that'll definitely be the talk. Like that'll definitely be the talk. But it seems like Georgia, Georgia had a good team, like 2017, had a best defense. But this defense this year, ever since, we added that Clemson transfer, Darian Kendricks, this defense done turned into a nightmare. It's the defense is always on point. It's always credited, to Kobe Dean, Jalen Carter, Big D, Jordan Davis, number 99, was a fucking monster. And all the other ones, Scene, and Georgia's still, down a couple players, but it's like they still got players that can show their worth. I mean, they got freshmen that look like they've been in college football for God knows how long because they're good at what they do. And we're starting to get our players back, our wide receivers back. So,
what about? I don't mean to jump ship. What about an Auburn Tigers versus Alabama?
See, yeah, and that's where it is. I mean, this game, Alabama's got to win out to go to the West to go play in the SEC championship. So I think, and this is just what I feel. I mean, yeah, Auburn may, they beat the hell out of Ole Miss, but it's like I honestly think
11 points, but I wouldn't say that's a major blowout. But
I mean, it wasn't a major blowout, but they were whooping their ass like what Bo Nix does. But
yeah, Bo Nix put a hurt, but he got 22. He got 22 completions out of 30 attempts, 276 yards. That's pretty deep.
But my thing is like, I think they can give Alabama a run for their money. And
Yeah,
if they beat
yeah,
Alabama, I just got a feeling it's going to be like 2017 all over again, where it's going to be, if LSU can't knock out Alabama, it's going to be Auburn versus Georgia in the SEC championship, unless Alabama can just, you know, do their thing and beat Auburn. But I mean, like, I'm not saying it's going to happen. Who knows? It might happen, but I just got that strong feeling because of how Bo Nix is playing. You know, ever since they lost to Georgia, yeah, they still suck, or they probably won. I don't know if they won or lost the rest of their games, but I know. I just got that feeling that it's going to be Auburn's going to win the Iron Bowl, and then they're going to go to the SEC championship.
well, that's what to me. That's what I think because I know Auburn was always been a threat. You know what I'm saying? Like Auburn's been always been that like Alabama's always seemed like they was always nervous of facing Auburn at this point because they're rivals and it's a rivalry game. So you know there's going to be a blood. You know there's going to be type of type. They're going to feel type a certain way about it. But the Auburn
And
Tigers has got a
especially, it's
good.
going to be a Jordan Hare this year too. So
They got it's going to be a because and Auburn has a good team this year this time. You know what I'm saying? But since they lost, but they lost Cam Newton, but but at the same time, they got Bo Nix to replace them, and so far the Auburn Tigers are 6-2 versus Alabama's 7-1. So I would say that's Alabama's record since they're playing regular schedule and stuff like that. I will say they're close to that one. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but but it's not like it's not like Auburn's like a terrible team this year. This like they're not going to say, well, Auburn we're not worried about Auburn. We're just going to end it right here. No, Auburn. I feel like that'll be a clutch game. If Alabama cannot beat Auburn, they should not go. You know what I'm saying, C-Dog?
right. I mean, if they can't beat Auburn, I'm pretty sure Cincinnati will probably shoot up, or whichever one is in the next lead up that's sitting on the outside looking in will go up. Which in reality, it shouldn't be whichever team's the top. It should be the teams that are undefeated. That's
Yeah,
how I see it.
it should be the teams that are right now. That should be the top. It should be the teams that are undefeated and right now at this point. But since they had that big change, the college ratings, how it used to. I like the way it is now. I like the playoffs. I like the way college football. It happened years and years ago when they did this, but that's around the time Clemson won their second national championship. I would say, like since the 1980 something, but I would say that's when around that time the playoffs thing happened is when Clemson came up. Like I would say that's when Clemson changed when that playoff thing seemed like a turning point for Clemson around that area. I don't know why, but it seemed like it was. But that was a long time ago. But but I would say my top also my top at least top two teams is of course you got Georgia, Cincinnati, and you have I would say it's definitely got to be Cincinnati in it, Michigan State, and Alabama. So
I mean, you forgot you got Oklahoma still undefeated too.
yeah, Oklahoma, yeah. I'll throw them in there too, but that'd be my top five. But I would say that to me right now, I would say that is my main thing right there. So we go ahead and I'll say college football is doing pretty great this year. It's exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just like I hope I mean, I know Atlanta always chokes, but I hope they can get something to be a good year for Georgia. Switching over to part two of it, is like NFL. The Chiefs, they're somewhat still slacking. It's just really heartbreaking. I mean, they won the last game, but it's like they're slipping up for some reason. Everything's not on point. I mean, they only won by 3 points of a field goal. And there was an incident that happened over the weekend, or yesterday. Las Vegas Raiders, their star wide receiver, Henry Ruggs, did something stupid, and now, like I said, I'm not dissing them, but it's like, why would you throw your life away, your career, over something stupid, like a DUI, which caused a fatality,
Yeah, we'll definitely cover this in part 2. That's all time we have for tonight, folks. Catch you later on part 2 of NFL.
Sea Dog signing off, and
Jolly J. Have a good night.